Welcome, fellow explorers of history and mystery. I hope you're doing great. Let me ask you something. What if the streets you walk on every day are hiding an entirely different world beneath them? Today, we're heading north to uncover the hidden past of Scotland's capital, Edinburgh. Beneath the bustling streets lies a secret network of underground vaults and forgotten passageways, places full of stories, mysteries, and unanswered questions. Let's dive into the intriguing history of Edinburgh's underground city together. Edinburgh sits in Scotland's central belt and is home to both the Old Town and New Town, which together are a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Old Town is especially famous for its medieval street layout and unique character. At the heart of Edinburgh stands Castle Rock, a massive volcanic remnant that dominates the skyline. The city was said to have grown outward from this rocky hill, with Edinburgh Castle perched on top, surveying the surrounding land. From there, the Royal Mile slopes downward, a historic street packed with fascinating stories and remnants of old-world ingenuity. As the city expanded, houses and shops were tightly packed along the slope to make the most of the limited space. This led to some of the earliest examples of high-rise residential buildings. From the ground level, many of these structures are astonishingly tall. Edinburgh's streets are steeped in history, but it's worth noting some key details. By 1801, the population of Edinburgh was approximately 82,560. However, life expectancy at the time was shockingly low, typically between 30 and 40 years for most residents. In 1785, a significant project began to connect the city to its southern areas. This was the construction of the South Bridge, made up of 19 stone arches. The bridge was later filled in with storage spaces and vaulted chambers stretching 4 stories deep, creating what we now call the vaults. Beneath the South Bridge, there are about 120 rooms hidden from view. Over time, tall buildings, shops, and workshops were built alongside the bridge, closing off its arches and concealing the vaults entirely. Here's something that really caught my attention. The foundation stone for the South Bridge was laid on August 1st, 1785, by George Gordon, Lord Haddo, in his role as the Grand Master Mason of Scotland. We're told the South Bridge, including its vaults, was designed by Robert Adam, one of the most renowned architects of his era. You can find plenty of information about Adam and his many architectural achievements, but what about the vaults and the people who actually built them? Let's keep digging deeper into the stories of Edinburgh's underground, where history and mystery intertwine. The South Bridge was built by local workers and masons under the guidance of engineers and city planners working on Robert Adams' design. But here's the strange part. There's no record of who these people were. We have no diaries, no records, and no real details about the hundreds of workers it would have taken to complete this project. Isn't that odd? Beneath the bridge, we find a network of underground vaults showcasing incredible craftsmanship, like barrel vaults and arches, which are techniques requiring advanced skill and knowledge of weight distribution and structural strength. Yet, there's no trace of who built them, where they trained, or how they learned these techniques. These methods were mastered by ancient civilizations, but how did they end up under Edinburgh? This lack of records has fueled speculation. While there's documentation of the bridge's construction in the late 1700s, the vaults are barely mentioned. Were they part of the original design? Or were they older structures later incorporated into the bridge? The absence of detailed plans or blueprints for the vaults is unusual for such a large project. This has led some to question whether the vaults were built earlier and repurposed over time. When the South Bridge opened in 1788, the vaults were initially used for storage, workshops, and housing due to their prime location near Edinburgh's bustling commercial area. However, because they weren't properly waterproofed, water began seeping in, making them damp and unsuitable. Legitimate businesses moved out, and by the mid-1800s, the vaults had become overcrowded slums. They housed Edinburgh's poorest residents and were associated with crime, smuggling, and gambling. Considering the average life expectancy in Edinburgh was already low, around 30 years, the conditions in the vaults were even worse. By the 1860s, the vaults were sealed off due to public health concerns, with many chambers filled with rubble. They remained forgotten until the 1980s, when a man named Norrie Rowan discovered them while renovating a property on Southbridge. Rowan cleared the rubble and unearthed a network of chambers, finding preserved relics like toys and bottles. These discoveries offered a rare glimpse into life in the vaults, almost like a time capsule. But here's what doesn't sit right with me. Are we really supposed to believe the vaults were completely forgotten for over a century? That nobody knew about them during all that time? And what about the possibility of even older tunnels and chambers beneath them? Around the world, similar underground networks, like Derinkuyu in Turkey, showcase advanced engineering by civilizations long gone. Could Edinburgh's vaults have connections to an earlier time, with features like sealed rooms and over-engineered designs hinting at purposes beyond 18th century needs? Ultimately, we're just trying to uncover the truth and make sense of these mysteries. Edinburgh's underground is a fascinating blend of history, myth, and unanswered questions. And it's not alone. Hidden layers of cities worldwide are waiting to be explored. What about your city? Are there hidden places with untold stories? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking the truth. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Join us next time as we unravel more mysteries of the past. Remember, history isn't just something to learn, it's a puzzle waiting to be solved.